The global value of coffee is $460 billion. All the coffee producing countries of the world, Brazil, us, all this, we only get 25 billion of that. Out of the 460 billion, the coffee producing countries get 25 billion. And Africa gets only 2.5 billion. 900 million of that comes to Uganda because Uganda produces a lot of coffee. A country like Germany, which has no coffee, earns $65 billion from coffee.
Okay, what's up my beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's episode, we have a guest, a familiar face if you have been part of this channel, and I will give our guest a minute, just a few seconds to introduce himself, and then we go straight into the business of the day. So welcome, my brother.
Thank you, bro. I think a minute is a lot. I'm Evans from Kenya. If you like, you can call me EFK. And we are here to bring you nice videos from Afrisite. Yeah.
Thank you very much, my brother. As you have heard, he's Evans from Kenya. He's also a YouTuber, and his channel is Evans from Kenya. Please do find time to check him out. Thank you very much for your time. So in today's episode, we want to talk a little bit about, just about the empowerment of Africa. And we are going to do a reaction on a video here. So there was this recent summit by heads of state of African countries, and Museveni, the president of Uganda, was not happy at all. So without wasting so much time, let's just jump into this video by His Excellency Yoweri Museveni, President of Uganda. Let's watch it together, and at the end of the video, we shall add our voices to it. So let's jump right into the video.
Let's dive in.
The crisis which is in Africa today is because of philosophical, ideological, strategic, economic mistakes, which we have been talking about since the 1960s. This is not an accident. Aid has been for profiteering. This has been the problem. Now, the World Bank people and other groups have been talking of sustainable development. Even in your documents, I have seen those words there. I am now going to be 80 years old. Africa does not need sustainable, you could call it sustainable underdevelopment. Africa needs socio-economic transformation. The main reason why there is no growth is because the growth factors are not funded. They are not even understood. What are the growth factors? We now talk of private sector-led growth. Yes, but for the private sector to grow, what does it need? It needs low costs of production. And what are the low costs of production? Number one, transport. You must have low transport costs. Where do low transport costs come from? From the railway. If you don't fund the railway, how will you get low transport costs? Wonderful people. Banco Mundial, IMF, all these. Where will low cost of production come from if you don't have a railway? I have been here for the last 64 years. I've been watching as a student leader, as a freedom fighter, now as the leader of a country. How many railways have been constructed or funded in Africa? The few that have been was by China the Tanzania Railway to Zambia, and recently China, another one here in Kenya, and then Tanzania on their own, they are building a railway line. So if you are talking of helping Africa, the railway, because if you fund the railway, you will have low cost of transport, and you can produce products which are cheap, which can be bought in the world. The second cost pusher is electricity. If you don't find electricity, and you talk about sustainable development, what are you talking about? Private sector-led growth. Electricity, we must have low-cost electricity, not exceeding 5 cents per kilowatt hour. That's what I insist on in Uganda. I'm tired of all these stories. These neo-colonial civil servants who have been holding us back, I have put my foot down, say, I don't want to hear those stories. And Uganda is developing, and it will develop, because I don't entertain that nonsense anymore. Borrowing for what? Capacity building. Imagine seminars. They call you in a hotel, you eat chapati, you eat mandazi. They say that is capacity building. Capacity building should be on the ground, not just seminars. The third one, those people who talk about private sector-led growth, private sector-led growth. I have been trying to borrow money for our UDB, Uganda Development Bank, a bank which funds manufacturers. No, I don't get support for that. Instead, they want me to go, my people to go to commercial banks. But commercial banks cannot give, no, those commercial banks are to encourage imports, because the only person who can borrow money and pay it back from a commercial bank is a trader who goes to China, goes to where, Dubai, brings products, sells them quickly, and pays back. So, if you are serious, I needed to hear about the low-cost funding for manufacturing, not for stories, not for what, no, manufacturing. How about funding for irrigation? So in order to stabilize, I've been trying to look for a loan for irrigation. I can't easily get it. Very difficult to get. A loan for seminars, very quick. The civil servants, what? Now finally, Uganda is a very rich country. But one of the problems we were having was that our people were outside the money economy. They were in what they call subsistence sector. They just produce for eating, produce for eating, produce for eating. So I was looking for money. Please give me money to give coffee seedlings to these fellows who are just producing for the stomach, so that they can produce for the stomach, but also produce for the pocket, so that they join the money economy. You cannot imagine that by 2013, a few years ago, 68% of the homesteads in Uganda were still in the subsistence sector, in the non-money economy. You audit your countries. What is the situation? What is the percentage of the people? So I had now to use my own money, because I couldn't borrow money from anybody. The loans are for capacity building, for, I don't know, sometimes they give for ICT. So we said, no, everybody must be involved in the money economy. We couldn't get any support for that. But we funded it ourselves. Each year, we spend about $300 million of our own to make these villagers join the money economy by producing for the stomach, but also for the pocket. And from 2013, I was now told that for the first time, 61% of the people are in the money economy of the homesteads. It is only 39% that are still out. You imagine those are still there, just eating, no money. Then you get your neo-colonial civil servants. They talk of import support. Imagine there is money for import support. Import support. The governor writes to me, reports, we have got import cover for so many months, but I don't want to import, I want to export. Why don't you tell me about import substitution and export promotion? Instead you are telling me of import support. So money is available for to become more dependent. Now, finally, the curse, which we told our people about in the 1960s, we told them, part of the wars we fought in Uganda, we had to get rid of the neo-colonial groups which were there, which were stopping us from thinking. We had to get rid of them by force. But one of the problems was Africa producing raw materials, matière primaire, they call it in Français, matière primaire. Raw materials. Imagine coffee. The global value of coffee is $460 billion. All the coffee producing countries of the world, Brazil, us, all this, we only get 25 billion of that. Out of the 460 billion, the coffee producing countries get 25 billion. And Africa gets only 2.5 billion. 900 million of that comes to Uganda because Uganda produces a lot of coffee. A country like Germany, which has no coffee, earns $65 billion from coffee. So, I sell a kilo of coffee, good grade coffee, $2.5. Somebody in London would get $241 from that 1 kilo. Okay, there are other costs on the way. I don't want to, because he's the owner of a restaurant and so on. But coffee roasting, coffee grinding, coffee packing must happen here in Africa. Must happen at source. The shirt I'm putting on is Ugandan cotton. I don't put on foreign clothes. It's only the trousers I'm putting on because I can't go naked. Because they have not solved that problem for me. So, if you look at cotton, how many job levels are there? Job levels. You grow the cotton. Okay, that one we do. Those jobs we do. We gene the cotton. Kutoa mbegu, remove the seeds. That one we do here. And we end there. When you hear all these countries which have got crisis, Burkina Faso, I don't know what, Mali, all of them are cotton growing countries. But how much textiles are they producing? They're importing textiles, I don't know from where. So now if you end at level 2, gening, removing the seeds, then you take the pamba, you take the cotton. To cleverer people who are clever, they take the cotton, they spinning, more money, more jobs for their children. They weave, more money, more jobs for their children. They put the print, more money, more jobs for their children. I looked at the figures. Uganda consumes 276 million meters of textiles each year. And that wonderful country of yours spends $880 million on clothes. Some of them dead people's clothes from Europe. When people die, their clothes, they are sent to you people, to Africa. And we spend 800, all the money we earn from coffee goes back to bring dead people's clothes. But we have got one factory there called Nitil. It produces 25 million million meters. So in order to clothe our people in Uganda without importing, we need about 11 factories like the one of Nitil. And they would employ about 20,000 people. So and we would save $880 million, which we are just giving to other people. So this Ida, what did you say about the modern slavery of the Africans, of producing raw materials? I banned the export of minerals from Uganda. And I banned them. Piga marufuku. Then the agents were going in the corridors, what Mufanyi, no mineral will come from Uganda if it's not processed. You wait until I go away, you can steal the minerals, but not now. I banned this export of unprocessed minerals in 2012. My young brother, His Excellency Ruto, I forgave him and gave him some little iron ore for, I think, 2 or 3 years, because I've got a lot of iron ore, one of the best in the world. I told him, His Excellency Ruto's man, Muindi wa hapa Kenya, you come and build the steel factory in Uganda at the iron ore. Oh, yeah. I've already built in Mombasa. So I said, okay, because of my young friend, I give you some iron ore for 2 or 3 years. But come and put the factory here. Now you can imagine akili ya watu wenu, my civil servants. An Indian wanted to take that iron ore to India. Imagine. Iron ore in Runyankore, in our language, is called obtare, but it is soil, black soil. If you see it, it is soil. To take that to India and do what? Pay your wonderful people $47 per ton. Our iron ore is the purest in the world. It is 70% pure. So you need like 1.5 tons to make a ton of steel. Now, a ton of steel costs $700. Somebody gives you $47 on your wealth, the wealth of your people, and he gets $700 from it. And all the jobs, your children have no jobs. Watoto wa Wahindi wanapata kazi. I can't be part of that treachery. So I banned, there will be no export of unprocessed minerals from Uganda. So there's no business. What do you mean there's no business? So when I banned them, they are flocking in now. They have opened 7 gold refineries. 7 gold refineries, they are there. Because I banned. The other day I was opening a tin refinery. But All this time, imagine, since the British were here, they were taking, walikuwa wanachukua mawe tu, stones, because tin in nature is a stone, looks like a stone. So they take that, and they give my people $11 per kilo. And they take it to cleverer people. For the cleverer people, they get $32. My people got 11, those people get $32. And all the jobs. So when I was opening the factory, I was asking the refinery, I was asking them, this boy who opened the factory is a Canadian. I was asking them, huyu Mkanada ameleta umeme wake. Has this Canadian brought his own electricity? No. Anatumia umeme wa kwetu. Ameleta maji yake ya factory? No. Anatumia maji yetu. Internet anatumia ya nani? Ya kwetu. So, out of the $32, much of that money will remain in Uganda. Pay for the raw material, pay for the electricity, pay for the water, all that remains in Uganda. So, what does, first of all, my African brothers and sisters say about this hemorrhage of Africa? This hemorrhage must stop. The crisis you see in these countries is because of stagnation of the last 60 years since independence. The population is increasing, the economies are not increasing. What do you expect?
Okay, so that is the video, and President Museveni is one man that you will hate to love, because with so much uncomfortable truth that he spews and a lot of wisdom, you know, it's great to stay close to old men, because old men carry a lot of wisdom. So
they've seen much as well.
They have seen so much. Clearly from this video we can tell that Museveni obviously picks a problem with African leaders and the leadership of Africa, and of course also these multinational institutions like the World Bank and the IMF for what they do and what they do to Africa. So I think we can start here that we will only realize the true value of Africa when Africa starts producing, not only producing, but also processing, consuming their own products, and the surplus they can give it out to the world market.
I think you've gone already deep. Walk the shores, walk sand, walk the shores, and then get yourself into the deep waters.
Let's start at the shore.
Museveni gave some strategies, He gave some strategies on how he thinks the world is full of hypocrisy. He started by saying there is something called the SDG, the Sustainable Development Goals, of which I believe you've heard of such a term, SDG.
Yes, let me interrupt you. These are SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
I often say myself, that is just nothing but, fancy political jargon, just to make it look very important for the common person.
Very true.
So, yeah, sorry, continue.
So he started by saying that this SDG, when it comes to really helping Africans, it doesn't. It's only there to feed itself.
Exactly.
It's only there to feed the trade. Right now, we are told that people need to go green. We are being advised not to use petroleum
product. Yeah.
This is because they have industries that are manufacturing electrical products, such as the e-cars, the electric cars. They are actually putting high levy on cars that are using petrol or fuel products, and they're making it easier for people to buy the cars which are electric. And he also said that The funny thing is that the SDG is not really an SDG. He said that the SDG is an SUDG. SUDG means Sustainable Underdevelopment Goal. So the goal of SDG, according to Dr. Yoweri Museveni, is to underdevelop Africa. Underdevelop his country as well. And believe me, I've been to Uganda, and you've been to Uganda as well.
Yeah.
When you looked at Kampala, what did you see, bro? What was your first perspective?
Well, I saw, what I would say was my first impression is a very rich country that is really yet to develop to its full potential.
Yes.
Yes. And what else? And a beautiful landscape, just an exploited, so much resources not yet exploited fully for, the benefit of the people of Uganda.
And also another thing, Uganda is very rich in food.
Yeah,
Uganda has
extremely. It's a rich. It's a green.
It's a green place.
Entire green country.
And there's food. There's a lot. I've never seen a lot of food.
I agree with you on that.
Like the one I saw in Uganda. So you also talked about, apart from that SDGs, you also spoke about the railroad, and you spoke about electricity. If the SDG really wants to be an SDG, it should help construct railroad, bring electricity as well.
Actually, the point is, if SDGs should really mean sustainable development, what he's trying to say is we must then subsidize the, we call them the factors of production.
Yes, yes.
Like good infrastructure, good roads, and transport system, railway lines, and electricity. Yeah. So those are factors of production.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence that when the white man came even into East Africa, in Kenya, for example, the first thing he did, he didn't construct roads. He built the railway. Building a railway is an easy mode of transportation.
Yes.
It's actually very cheap to transport over rail. And the president of Kenya once said, because the lorries were killing a lot of people along the Kenyan highways, they had to stop. And whatever the trailers were carrying in those highways should be carried by the rail, which will even be cheaper.
And safer.
But the people refused. The people brought a lot of arguments such as employment and all this and that. But according to me, I think Uhuru Kenyatta was seeing something which was even better. It's cheaper. Because even safety, as you said, these trailers have really finished a lot of people in these roads. There is no accident without a trailer. It's rare. But of course, we have some without them.
Yes.
He said the SDG cannot offer money for real development. It offers money to go to seminars.
Just ask for. If you want to get a loan easy in Africa,
yes.
Just talk about things that don't really matter to Africa. Don't talk about building the railway. Go there and look for seminars,
yes.
Empowerment, something,
yes.
Women, something.
Women rights.
Yes, women rights. You'll get a lot of money. You'll get good loans.
Promote LGBTQ.
Promote non-issues to Africa.
Yes.
Because those are things that they pump into our heads.
Yes.
So they divert our attention to things that really matter, like building the railway, yes. And having cheap, affordable electricity, yes. And water for, yes. Production.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, this, as you said, this man is old, and old is gold.
Old is gold.
He has seen a lot, and sometimes there's beauty. There's beauty in everything we see. Sometimes it is us who fail to realize it. There's beauty in everything. You know that? In everything we see, there's God's fingerprint in it. Even this wood, there's God's fingerprint in this. You see? Now, he said, and he acknowledged that the problem of Africa is that problem which is being caused by slavery, modern day slavery.
Yes.
And it's very subtle in a way that Africans are not realizing this, and it's upon Africans to realize this so that this modern day slavery should stop. He also gave example of Burkina Faso, Mali. He said there's a lot of fights over there, which is true. But what is causing these fights?
Yes.
These fights are being caused by the abuse that are being caused by by the Western institutions. You understand?
Yeah.
It was in Niger that they imagine France was having a full mining rights in Niger. Niger could not mine uranium without the approval of France.
In their own country.
How far is France from Nigeria? How far is it, bro?
France from Nigeria? Niger.
No, from Niger.
From Niger?
Yeah.
Miles.
Miles and miles. Actually, it's thousands of miles.
Sure.
But once they refused and they said, we are taking back our mining rights, this is our country, and leave, that moment, African leaders, there's a trade bloc in West Africa called ECOWAS, economic bloc for West African states, something like that. They kicked out these countries such as Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali. They kicked them out because they kicked French people out.
Because they refused to work with France.
In conjunction with France.
Yes.
And this is not even work in conjunction.
They refused to be exploited.
Yes.
That is the point.
Maybe you tell us your interpretation of that.
Let me just reiterate a point so you see, so we can create the clear picture of absurdity. So Museveni here brings a clear picture that the global value of coffee, and you know that in Kenya we also produce coffee, and of course good quality coffee.
Yeah, sure.
So he gives even the figures, and the figures make everything worse. That the global value of coffee is 400 billion USD.
Yes.
But out of the 460 billion USD, only 25 billion USD goes to countries that actually plant the coffee. Just see the comparison.
The ones that are really boosting it.
460, but those that produce only get 25. He goes ahead to say a country like Germany does not have a coffee plantation, but they make over 60 billion USD on coffee. Where do they get the coffee from? Of course, they are getting it from us who produce, and because we cannot process, and because they never give us a chance to do the processing, they get the chance to produce, to process what we produce and value add it, and of course, they make all the money from it, because we know that raw materials compared to their finished products often fetch, 3 times, at least 3 times, of their raw materials. These cuts across not only coffee or cotton, but even for minerals. Look at, we talked about the other time about Nigeria and Angola and their refineries. We don't have refineries. But it's not that we cannot afford refineries in Africa. Imagine if one man single-handedly built a mega refinery in Nigeria.
$20 billion.
A 20 billion refinery. One man single-handedly did it. Is that something for a country to do it? No, but we can't do it because we are sabotaged, and we can't realize this. And until we realize this, then we shall have realized the truth.
There was a speech that was given by, I did a video on that, by the way. There's a video that was done by a Ghanaian politician. His name is Nana Kwame Bediako. I don't know if you're familiar with the guy.
Yeah, I know him.
Nana Kwame Bediako said, the problem we are now, you are discussing, is caused by the leaders whom we put in the front. These leaders are sacrificing the rest of the nation for their own pleasure. You see, a country like Nigeria, 200 million plus people live in that country, but a few people on the top are having deals from the government, and these deals are going to affect the average person living in Nigeria. They are going to suffer, yet they have natural resources. Africa is rich in itself. It's very rich. It's not a statement that is just being told. Africa is rich. Look at the DRC. We have chaos in DRC because of the leaders. Right up to now, whatever is happening in DRC, despite the richness, is because of the leaders and how it started. It started with the colonization. It started with the Belgian Congo, Leopold. When Leopold killed 2 million Africans, 2 million plus. Those are people who are documented. What about those who are not documented? We have right now, we had Mobutu Sese Seko. He killed a lot of people. We had the blood of Patrice Lumumba. He was killed. You see, Simon, when there's a lot of blood that has been shed in a certain soil, do you know blood speaks? Even the Bible said blood cries. 2 million people died because somebody wanted...
In fact, King Leopold killed 10 million Congolese.
10 million, I was even 8 million less.
Yes, that is the documented number.
Just imagine.
And he said that Congo was his personal property.
Yes.
It wasn't even a colony of Belgium. He said it was his property.
Yes. I don't think he adhered to the Berlin Conference. There is no anyone in the Berlin Conference that was as harsh as Belgian King Leopold was. 10 million people died, and because that blood is crying over that place, Sese Seko died, killed Patrice Lumumba. Patrice Lumumba blood is crying. So the place is cursed, is really cursed.
With so much riches.
With so much
but so much curse.
It's blessed with riches, but because they are greedy leaders,
yes,
the people are not benefiting from the riches of the country. Now, this is because of the leaders we elect into power. They sacrifice our deed, they sacrifice our natural resources for their own benefit, which creates a concept that Museveni said, which was called no trade fairness. There is no trade fairness. There is no way I'll give you my natural resource, like my iron ore, you go and do whatever you do with it, then bring it back, sell at me a very exorbitant price, and you expect me to buy and to be good with you. I won't be good with you.
Yes.
You've just exploited my iron ore. You understand?
Yes.
Now, imagine Museveni has said he stopped the importation of raw materials from Uganda in 2012.
Unless they're processed, then they can leave the country.
Then they can leave the country. Even Kenya itself, a person who wanted to construct to buy the raw materials was denied.
The iron ore
was denied for I think 2 years. If I got
he was only given rights to do it for only 2 years.
Only 2.
With the condition that in the 2 years he constructs
a factory
at the mining of the iron ore
in Uganda.
Yes, so it can benefit the people of Uganda, at least 80%.
And this person was an Indian. Museveni knows a lot, bro. He really knows a lot.
That's a library, a walking library.
Yes. So he said that he was an Indian, and the money which was being generated from this, he would push it back to the Indian bank in India, of course. Now, if we come to look at it again, Africans, people are coming here to get rich and they fly back to their country. And these people are using our own people to exploit us.
Yes.
It's because of presidents such as Yoweri Museveni, presidents such as the president of Burkina Faso,
Ibrahim Traore,
and his counterparts, Mali and Niger. We had President Magufuli. These were presidents who were very vocal and in saying we don't want this no more and this is going to stop. Magufuli went to the extent of saying COVID is a
scam.
Is a scam. Because he was a president, he knew how influential his words would be, and he would not just speak without having no reason to speak. You understand?
Yes.
So, according to this part where the minerals are being brought to India and not benefiting Africans, it's not something new. We see it today. Indians exploit our people and then they reach. I've never seen, you can study with an Indian in primary school, but you never see where they go to university. Have you ever seen an Indian, leave alone one whom you can see walking around, but a university where you go to? Yeah.
Well, there are so many in Kenya, but you hardly see them.
Yes.
In the universities.
I have not even seen a pregnant one. I've never.
Maybe they go back home, to enrich their home.
Yes. Sorry about the pregnant part. Yeah.
So as we head to the close of this video, the truth is Africa must wake up. And talking about wake up, we have to start by our own leadership.
Yes.
Because Haile Selassie once said that Africa does not actually lack funds, but the funds are being misused.
Yes.
We know that corruption is rampant in Africa, so much rampant. So we need to start by calling out our leadership and sending people unceremoniously home that are not for the benefit of Africa.
Yes.
And another thing we need to understand is those that are in African leadership positions now must stand ground and say, we must enjoy the benefits of our sweat and the fruits of our land.
Exactly.
There is no way we are always going to be the producers of raw materials, but the highest consumers of products that we do not process. We need to be able to produce, process, and consume. And if we have surplus, we can give it to the rest of the world. And of course, Africa is very rich. There will always be enough for Africa and even for the entire world. So unless you have something to add, then you can say something as we close this.
Museveni said he was once a student leader. He was once another leader for an organization, and then he became the leader of a country. It's not the other way around. It's just a forward.
Yes.
So charity begins at home. You don't have to be a leader so big for you to discover how exploitation works. You might be working in a government office. You might be a teacher. It all starts with you. The idea that Africans should liberate themselves of suffering, of oppression, starts with you. Just with the little resource you have, you can create awareness like the one Simon is doing here on his channel, AfroSite. Support the young man. He's really doing nice work. That's my word.
Thank you very much, and thank you, our viewers, for your beautiful, precious time that you saved for us. Please go ahead and check out my boy's YouTube channel, EFK. On YouTube. Please subscribe and check out the wonderful content he's doing. One of my lecturers once said, you can hardly ever do too much of a good thing. So let's continue preaching this gospel so we can empower not only Africa but the black culture.
Yes.
So until next time, see you in the next video.
Exactly.
Peace.